Walter Benjamin was a Jewish-German philosopher born in 1892. He lived and worked in Berlin until 1932, when he was exiled from Germany. After being exiled, Benjamin spent his time traveling to different countries. Eventually, he was caught trying to get into Spain in an attempt to travel to America and killed himself in the year 1940. Walter Benjamin's archive consists of 13 chapters, since the number 13 is important to Benjamin. Each chapter depicts a different aspect of Benjamin's personal archives. The first chapter deals with Benjamin's archiving habits as a whole and the various ways that he kept his records. The second chapter discusses how Walter Benjamin collected and dispersed his archives to ensure its survival while he traveled around the world. He would send his friends and families notes, journals, and scraps of paper to hold onto for him. Chapters 3 through 13 deal with different facets and materials of Benjamin's archive. Chapter 3 looks at his habit of writing extremely small. He was able to fit 88 lines on a 21-centimeter piece of paper. Benjamin thought that by writing small, he would force people to put more effort into reading his pieces. He would only write these micrographies on quality paper and with good pens. Chapter 4 deals with the various Russian toys that Benjamin collected while in Russia. These wooden toys were usually old, handmade, and many of them were worn out, broken, or deformed in some way. Chapter 5 looks at Benjamin's documentation of his son's speaking and language use. This consists of lists of words and phrases his son spoke. Chapter 6 concerns the various notebooks that Benjamin kept throughout the years for a variety of reasons. Chapter 7 looks at postcards. Postcards were invented about 3 years after Walter Benjamin was born and were a good way of showing glimpses of what he saw on his trips. Benjamin would send postcards to people while on trips and ask them to hold on to them for him so that he may collect them when he comes back one day. Chapter 8 discusses the various ways Benjamin would curate his writings using papers. He would cut up pages or even sew them together again to align documents he thought would be connected. Chapter 9 documents the interesting ways that Walter wrote. There are many shapes involved in his writing, and often ideas were connected in web format. Chapter 10 deals with Benjamin's Arcades project. The project dealt with storefronts in Paris, France. He took a break from the project for many years before returning to it, but unfortunately it was never finished. Chapter 7 contains pictures of storefronts and interiors of Paris, France, taken by his friend Germain Kroll. These images would have paired very nicely with his Arcades project had it ever been finished. Chapter 12 concerns riddles, brain teasers, and word games. Walter would apparently trade riddles and puzzles with other enthusiasts on his trips. Finally, Chapter 13 covers art prints of mosaic tiles taken from the cathedral in Siena. Overall, Walter Benjamin's archive is a good example of a personal archive. It covers many years of his life and has many different types of materials and resources in it. It connects different aspects of his life that were considered important, like his Russian toys, his small writing, postcards, and even his Arcades project, which was never finished. While the reception of the work was overall positive, there were notes saying that it's not really, quote, an archive, and more of a memoir of Walter Benjamin's life.